private school in order to visit with the kids, right? I mean, whether or not they were directly involved in the situation or they were simply peripherally involved, people have traumas, right? And they are going to either post-secondary trauma or they're going to be exposed directly to the crime scene. But in either case, they obviously will need help. And sometimes what's really difficult about this caring is that the kids don't even know that they need the help, or the parents, until perhaps a month or two later. They begin to have nightmares. They begin to have anxiety about getting in that bus, or, having fears that something like this is going to happen to them again.
I know these parents right now, all they want is just to get their kids in their arms. But as you mentioned, this is the kind of thing that may not show itself. It may not be visible that your child needs help, today, tomorrow, or the next day. What is it that parents should be looking for? Because it's not just this situation. As you mentioned, Mansfield, we had a shooting situation in Mansfield a couple of years ago. What is it that this happens too frequently? But what should parents be looking for in their child to let them know that they really need more help than they might be getting at the moment?
Typically, we look for signs of what we call unusual behavior, right, or behavior that is different from the norm for those kids. I mean, there are some kids that are introverts, and so the fact that they may actually be, basically in the room alone and not want to talk to many people may be part of the normal, events in their lives. But at the same time, what you're looking for is, for instance, a kid that was outgoing that all of a sudden wants to be alone, or the individual that may be writing things to the parents about how life is one way or another, and this is really just a fatalistic, world in which to live. I think what is important is for parents to listen and for parents to be aware of their kids, pay special attention to their behavior in the coming days and weeks, and make sure that if they need the help, and you feel that if you're in doubt that they need help, you know what, go find the help, because that means there's something that you probably sense as a parent that needs to be addressed that you can't.
Yeah, we seem to have lost contact with Dr. Del Carmen for the moment. It looks like we've got state troopers there as well. We mentioned a very, very large police presence: Dallas ISD Police, Dallas Police Department, Lancaster Police Department, and now we see that there are also state troopers there. This is no longer an active situation, but we have had a shooting at Wilmer-Hutchins High School that happened just before 10:45 this morning. We understand one person is in custody and one person has been transported to the hospital. No word yet on that person's identity or that person's condition, but no active threat at the moment. We do have multiple crews at the scene, and our Olivia Leach is there. And Olivia, I know that last we spoke, you were at an elementary school nearby.
That's right. I'm now right in front of Wilmer-Hutchins High School. You'll see behind me that there's a growing crowd. These are parents who are pretty upset. They're trying everything to get in touch with their kids, but we have learned that students will be let out of the school shortly and reunifications with those parents can begin. But we're just getting some breaking details in about the victim in this shooting. We're told by police that the victim was a student, and we're looking to find out their injuries, what condition they're in. But as you said earlier, DFR confirmed that that student, that person, that victim of the shooting was transported to a local area hospital earlier today. DFR, as you mentioned, had multiple crews, multiple ambulances on scene since the 10:30 hour this morning. And we're seeing, as you mentioned, a huge police presence here, lots of ambulances, lots of police. And as we mentioned, a lot of parents here on scene who are just trying to get any details about their children and reunite with their children as well. Karen?
Olivia Leach, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, so we also, I understand, our Brian New, our investigative reporter Brian New, he's done multiple stories on situations like this and investigations as to what school districts, what their protocols are. Do we have Brian on the phone yet?
Yeah, hi, Karen.
Hi, Brian. So yeah, I know, when I first was told that this was happening at Wilmer-Hutchins High School.
You've been listening to CBS News Texas and their coverage of a shooting outside a high school in Dallas. Our station is reporting
that one person was taken to the hospital, a student, they say, and one person is in custody. Again, that is according to CBS News Texas. We are going to continue to monitor this story. Right now, though, a quick break. We'll bring you more coverage as soon as we come back.
Mr. President, there's a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
Does this carrier strike group stand ready?
It's just incredible to see there's an active search and rescue operation going on 12 hours after this accident.
The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.
I had progressively fallen deeper into the world of online sports betting.
The risk is the rush.
What do you think is driving the spike in popularity?
I think it's legality.
If it's legal, I'm going to use it. There are ways to bet when you are 18.
We've created an epidemic of child gambling.
You can't walk into a male dormitory in a college campus without sports betting happening.
It's America's most neglected problem.
I used sports betting as a way to escape, when in reality, I'm choosing self-destruction. Whatever I had left, it was gone.
The purpose of the industry is to get you to play to extinction. And that means until all your money is gone.
Stories start with the who, what, when, and where. But it's why it's important to you that matters most. Knowing what to ask is how you open the door to a deeper understanding. See you on Prime Time, streaming free everywhere.
An original documentary from CBS Reports.
That desired farm is a wonderful place to raise children, and it still is.
Promises broken.
Black Americans have been the target of racism and discrimination pretty much from the time they acquired ownership in the land.
Costing black farmers hundreds of billions in generational wealth.
They did everything to make sure we were run off that land.
But communities are uniting to continue the fight.
Collective ownership is powerful.
To keep their land and their dreams alive.
To watch my children play on land that we own means everything.
So land is power.
Most definitely.
40 Acres and a Mule, now streaming on the free CBS News app.
People with developmental disabilities were once sequestered by the hundreds of thousands in institutions.
Many of our fellow citizens are suffering tremendously because lack of attention, lack of imagination, lack of adequate manpower.
Disability activists have since torn down barriers blocking them from living at home or in the community.
We conclude that Title II of the ADA requires states to provide community-based treatment for persons with mental disabilities.
But of the 16,000 people who remain in state-operated institutions, half are in 5 states, and Illinois is one of them.
I don't want to live in the institution. It makes me feel discriminated against.
Do you think there are people living in institutions in Illinois that don't need to be living there?
Yeah, because they're proving it as soon as they get out.
The House has passed legislation to reauthorize what's known as the FISA surveillance program. It allows for the U.S. to track the movements of foreigners located outside of the U.S. without a warrant. All right, and we are going to dip back now into CBS News Texas after a shooting outside a school in Dallas. Let's watch.
That reunification system will happen at a nearby school. We're looking to figure out the exact name of that reunification site.